Welcome to the Modernize or Die podcast, CFML News Edition, where we keep you up to date with everything going on in the Cold Fusion community. We'll share the latest news on events, releases to engines, frameworks, libraries, and tools, as well as spotlighting quality content from the community. Welcome back, everybody. It's been a while, and I haven't updated my date. So it is April 16th, and we're up to episode 214. I can't believe we're like a month away from Into the Box, Brad.
Just coming up fast. There's been a lot going on.
Yep, we got a lot of news here. Some good stuff going on, things happening everywhere. So let's just jump into it. Hope you guys can jump in the chat and keep us company. Okay, so first of all, let's start off by thanking our sponsors, Auto Solutions. They're makers of Cold Box, Command Box, Forge Box, Test Boxes, everything else out there. A few ways you can say thanks back to Auto Solutions is, buy some tickets to the things we're doing. We have some non-paid versions, but this is a great way to help out. So CF Summit East next week, April 24th. That's going to be at CF Summit East, and we have a workshop there. So you can purchase tickets for the workshop. And you can also buy tickets for Into the Box coming up, like we said, in a month now in Washington, D.C. It's a new venue. Hopefully you guys a little closer to some people, maybe easier to get into D.C. It's a great event, a great location, so we're really excited for that. But they can do some free stuff too, Brad. Do you want to tell them some of the ways they can help us for free?
If I can find that part of the show notes, where's it at?
The top. Basically, like and subscribe to our videos on YouTube. Reach for the stars, walk our repos, star the repos, and then, just basically get out there and subscribe to our apps. And if you leave a review for our apps, we'll read it on the show. So just leave a review in your favorite podcast app and then let us know that you've done it. And then we can read it on the show here. And then we've got free and paid accounts on CFcast, so you can get lots of great content there. If you want to look cool, you can buy stuff from the Box Life store, where we've got some cool shirt designs and everything else. We even have some stickers there, and of course, if you come to the box, we'll have more stickers. And we've got a few surprises for you into the box, so I'm working on a couple of things to make it a little cooler for the people who attend, and even cooler for our Patreon supporters.
Wait, there's surprises into the box?
Yes. I've got
what kind of surprises, Gavin?
Lots of stuff. They wouldn't be surprised if I told you, but I'm working on some cool stuff to do with
I want to know
merch.
now.
Well, I'm trying to do some stuff to do with like stickers and some of the other merch stuff we do, but something a little different, a little special. So you'll have to come and see, I guess. But we also have some books, so we have free and paid ones. So learn modern CFML in 100 minutes is free online at modern-cfml.ortusbooks.com, or you can pay for ebook or a paper copy, which is now available on Amazon as well, with a hardcover as well. So there's lots of cool stuff you can do. And of course, the big thing that a lot of people are doing are just being Patreon supporters. So Patreon's a cool way to give back to your favorite people. And we have 50 Patreons now, Brad. Can you believe it? 50.
That's awesome. Never thought we'd get this far.
Yeah, so it's really cool. It's been building up over time, and we finally broke that 50 mark. So thank you. And the key word for the Patreon supporters this week is humbling, because 50 is pretty amazing. These people go out of their way to spend their own money to thank us and give us funding for all the cool things that we're doing. And we'll tell you more about that at the end of the show. So next up, we have some news and announcements, and the first one is CF Camp. They've announced the first batch of sessions. I don't know if you noticed this, Brad. It just came out.
I did not notice that. CF Camp. I am planning on being at CF Camp this year.
Oh, you are going to make it? Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm last minute change, so that's pretty exciting.
Very
I haven't
cool.
even looked at the sessions yet. What do we have there?
Well, I'll share my screen for those who are watching at home. So a new Autos project. Ooh. I wonder what that is. Apple Maps. The alternative worth considering for your website. CB Debugger. And we got one on deploying CFML apps with AWS and CDK. Data modeling with Cassandra, that sounds cool. Converting, filtering, importing files and metadata using CFML and JavaScript. We got some ChatGPT bridge stuff here, some Lucy 6 WebSockets, Alpine JS. That's a 90-minute workshop. I'm still scared of object aspect oriented programming. That's a good one.
AOP. Wow.
Yeah. And then HTMX, the old HTML, old school guy stuff that's coming back with a hard passion now. Some GitLab stuff, test build your app with CI/CD GitLab. Man, they got a bunch of good stuff here. Web components, 90-minute workshop. I'm doing web component stuff lately. It's kind of fun and cool. Passwordless authentication. I wonder if that's the passkeys. Eric's doing one of those at CF Summit. Sorry, Into the Box. Timescale DB. Charlie's doing Redis for session storage. I wonder if that's going to be, was it KeyVal or Valkey instead of Redis, the open source one?
I think it's Valkey, but every time I say it, it sounds wrong. So
yeah.
and that's
Revolution task scheduling, CFML, unlocking DevOps secrets. Dang, they got a lot, and they got more coming too.
right. And if you haven't heard of that eval, Valkey, whatever stuff, Redis basically made a big licensing change recently that affects the ability of cloud providers to basically resell Redis. Redis basically said, no, you can't do that. We want to cut if you're going to resell our product. It's open source and free, but not for that. And so Redis itself has been forked by a bunch of major companies. And
Yeah.
some people are predicting that within a couple of years, Redis will basically be non-existent and everybody will be just using the open source version that was forked. So if you're using Redis, keep an eye on that, because the community may or may not shift over to this other big fork. Basically, it's kind of pushed back to their licensing change, being like, no, bro, open source means we get to do whatever we want with it. So be interesting. A lot of major open source software is out there, and that includes like Elasticsearch and Couchbase. They all have they're all like open source, quote unquote, that you can see the source code, but a lot of them are more what they call it source available licenses, which is not really regarded by some people as truly open source. It basically means we'll let you see the source code, but you can't do whatever you want with it. And they do that to be able to monetize the platform. So it's interesting to see what happens as these softwares kind of they tighten down their licensing to be able to monetize it, and then people will just fork it and be like, forget you, we're gonna do our own thing anyway. So I'm curious to see what's gonna happen with Redis there.
Yeah, for sure. And
also I really like this sorry, if you were going to say something more about Redis, you can. I just saw the command block 6 topic from Yogesh, which looks really awesome.
Very cool. Yeah, I just posted a link in the chat for those who want to read a bit more about the Redis license change and how it spawned Valkey, which is weird because I always want to say key val because I'm thinking it's key value storage, but they had to do Valkey because someone else probably snapped that up. And
yeah, key val was probably trademarked already.
Yep, and apparently, yeah, I guess the other mad at people like AWS. There's like you make $90 billion, you can probably give us some money, like, and it's fair enough too for some of that stuff, but yeah, that's definitely tough. But because I know they have different licenses, and I guess we'll see what happens. But I know other companies have done this, and all that ends up happening is basically they just force them to revert their decision and change. So we'll see what happens there. I know there's a lot of news about that, but you guys can do some more reading on that. But speaking about crazy moves that are making people do weird things, Vercel, which has been really popular with JavaScript community for a long time, especially with React and a lot of the other little tools that sort of Vercel as a company has all these hosting things, and they basically buy teams that are working on cool projects, and they make the Vercel platform like super quick and easy to integrate with all your stuff. And apparently, if you want us to keep using that, you're basically gonna have to pay an arm and a leg in gold now. So it's pretty interesting, and I'm going to show you a screenshot for those who are watching because you guys are special. We want to give you something cool. So if I share my screen and loads up, so this is Mohammed said, "Hey there, wanted to let you know they're updating Vercel's pricing later this month. Based on your application and the way it uses infrastructure, your monthly bill will go from $20 to $306 on July 21st.
That's a big change.
Yeah, so that's why everyone's like Syntax FM did a whole series on like how to run your own platform and how to host yourself with VPS, and there's all these tools that'll help you do Docker and everything really easy, like Cloud Panel, and there's a few other ones. And so yeah, so if you're using Vercel, take note because you might have got one of those emails that was telling you that your price is going to go up like 15 times what it is. So yeah, ouch. So keep an eye on that as well. But they do have some cool services and some good tie-ins. But eventually they got to start monetizing, right? Those big startups get a bunch of money, and then eventually they have to start charging more for their services, and that's when everyone gets they're already locked in, and you're done. So yeah. So releases and updates is next, and we don't have any new ones that I saw. I might have missed some, but we just want to remind you that Quick has gone from like 7.4 to 8 or 8.1. I don't remember exactly. QB has been updated. It's up to 9.8 now. And Megaphone, which is a cool provider basically for sending out notifications to lots of different channels. So you can basically use a Megaphone. Got updated to 1.01 now, so it's got some cool stuff for CB mail services, but you can also make your own provider and send things through like Twilio and stuff. It's pretty cool. I know that Eric Peterson did a bunch of notification tools for different customers. He's like, I got to build a module to make this easier. I keep redoing the same thing. So
Totally.
that's pretty cool. Okay. So next up, webinars, meetups, and workshops. And I don't see any coming up right now because, as I mentioned, a lot's going on already with CF Summit East next week. But there are a couple of things that wrapped up so you guys can watch some sessions. Now, CF Online. So CF Summit Online, for those that didn't know, you cannot record stuff in Vegas without paying the mob, essentially. So unless you want to pay $50,000 to record your sessions, we couldn't do it at CF Summit last year. So a lot of the people who were presenting at CF Summit got together and they created a CF Summit Online through Adobe. And so they've basically got a playlist about 17 sessions. So a lot of the speakers have gone ahead and done it. So there's a pretty good list of videos in that playlist. I'm going to try and pull it up. But yeah, I mean, CF Summit was a good event last year, right, Brad? You were there.
Yeah, it's always a good event. I mean, I like the hotel it's been at, and it's got just a lot of people that attend, so it's always fun to hang out with the CF engineers, ask them questions.
Yeah, so as you guys can see, there's a lot of those great sessions using Copilot, and Daniel Garcia's did his transitioning from WordPress to Content Box One. Ray Camden with his Acrobat PDF services with ColdFusion, Rulebox, which was actually, if you want to see that one live at Into the Box, Annette Liskey's going to be there to give it. I saw that one in Vegas. It was really good. So she recorded her session too. A few of the other sessions from some of the Adobe people and some of the other components, like Nolan Irk did his web components. So I'll have to watch that one again. But yeah, a lot of cool sessions up there, and so Charlie compiled some links in a blog post as well. So if you guys want to get more, but they have a YouTube playlist if you just want to put it on and play and just play them all, or if you want to go to that page right there and you can basically just pull up the ones you want and watch them as you go. So a lot of cool stuff there. And yes, Scott just mentioned, he beat me to it. There's if you're a previous attendee, and you can basically get it for less than the early bird price. So I was getting down to the conferences, but basically the pricing for CF Summit West is being released. It was $99, and if you got a coupon, I think you get it for about $79. So that is a steal for 2 breakfasts, 2 lunches, a party, and a bunch of sessions, or even time just to hang out with people. That's a pretty good deal in Vegas, right, Brad?
Yeah, it is. And I got that same email this morning. Exclusive offer for Adobe ColdFusion Summit alumni. So check your inbox if you've attended before.
Yep, and that's good, I think, till May 15th, they said. And
Yeah.
then I know Robert said he stopped using them on the last price increase with Vercel. That's what that one was
Yeah.
about.
Yep.
So I was trying to keep up on the chat. I got to pop that chat out so I can see it when I'm clicking on other things here.
Need more monitors, Gavin.
I have more monitors, but I just didn't separate the YouTube from the monitor I was sharing screen with. But anyway, so we'll tell you a little more about CF Summit, but the CF Summit Online, great videos. And then Charlie Earhart did a CFUG last week, Brad.
He did. It was called What If No One Is Monitoring Your Database Server? I think there's a lot of people who aren't monitoring their database server. Unless it's crashing, right? I don't care.
Yeah, so as usual, Charlie's, that's his day job, basically helping everybody with the infrastructure, keeping everything up and running, debugging and troubleshooting. And so that's probably a good one. It's one of those ones like Pete, right? You probably should watch them because he's going to scare you a little bit and give you some great ways to solve that problem. So I wonder what Charlie's covering that one. I'll have to watch that one later too. I'll add it to my queue. Okay, next up we have some CFcast content. I know we had a bit of a quiet patch for CFcast. Everyone's been so busy working everything, but we're trying to make a big push to get more content out for you. So looks like we got 5 videos released since the last time we did the podcast. You want to go over some of these, Brad?
Yeah, we've got intro dark mode implementation for Tailwind. I've got installation for Tailwind. What's new in the Ortus ORM extension? CB storages, Forge Blocks module of the week, and then Wrangler themes, the VS Code hint, tip, and trick of the week uh, from our podcast.
Yep. So a lot of great stuff there on CFcast. Again, some of it's free, some of it's paid. So go check it out. And if you are a Patreon supporter and bronze level or up, then you get the CFcast subscription for free, which is a cool little perk there for you and another way to support us. But a lot of good content there. And again, we're trying to get more and more content out all the time. And of course, that's where all the ITB videos will go once we've done that. But remember, if you do attend, you get access to those videos way before everybody else. Otherwise, you got to wait for the exclusivity window to end. So come to the conference, check it out in person, and then watch the videos for the ones you missed later. Okay, speaking of conferences, so CF Summit East next week. So that's a big day in DC with all the government, right, Brad?
Yeah, coming up really soon, Wednesday, April 24th. Uh, Microsoft Conference and Collaboration Center. So if you're going to that, look forward to the blogs and tweets of what's going on. I think Luis is going to be there, isn't he? I have to
Yep, Luis is presenting
remember.
and he's doing that workshop. So we have a workshop there as well. But the coolest thing about that one, it's free. You know, if you're in the area in Reston, Virginia, it's free to go there for the one day, and you know you get a bit of food, get a lot of cool content. Lots of the CF Summit speakers are there as well. So there's a lot of great content. One day workshop, and if you want to do the ACP, the Adobe certification for professionals, that's available the day prior, I believe. So you can actually do that as well the day prior. So one day training. So you make it a couple of days. So if you do ACP training, you do the workshop with the one day CF Summit East, and then you do 2 days with Luis at the workshop, make a week of it, you know. But he's doing the Cold Box 7 workshop. So after CF Summit East, 2 days, so 25th and 26th, he's going to be teaching you all the awesome stuff from Cold Box 7.2. So he's basically rebuilt it from the ground up with all the feedback from everything. And 7.0 and 7.1, 7.2, there's tons of great features. He's really gone crazy on all the optimizations and the wirebox and the module creation and transient caching and all sorts of stuff. So there's a bunch of new stuff in 7.0. So this is a great workshop, and again, he's rebuilt it from the ground up to make sure he covers all of that. So it'll be great. And there is early bird pricing, but I'm not sure when that ends. When does that end? Let me see. Is there a date on the early bird tickets? Nope, I think the early bird might have passed. So no more early bird tickets, but still get some
So
tickets there.
I'm looking at the Carasoft.com website, and I can't figure out for the life of me how the heck you find like the schedule. Do they have the schedule posted? I've clicked every link on here, and there's nothing but a registration form.
Um,
Is there a different website that has the actual schedule?
that's a good question. I thought you had to register before you get more information, but maybe there is.
You have to pass
But
the bill to find out what's in it.
hold on, there is a link in the paragraph. Where does that take you? Just to register. Yeah.
Yeah, I went through
Uh,
and I clicked everything, and I can't actually find where they list the actual sessions, nor can I find any mention of Luis's workshop. They
well,
have a
yeah,
link at the bottom to one of their
yeah.
workshops,
This is the
the
pre-training.
ACP.
Yeah, here's the agenda. Well, that's 2023. Yep, that's not it. It's a good question. Let me see. 2024.
No, I found a promising link that took me out to a different site, but it just dumped me back to the same page. Maybe
Yeah,
the schedule's the best kept secret.
yeah,
Oh, oh, I think I found it. Wow, that was really circuitous. So I just scroll all the way down to the footer where it has the name James Hudson, whoever that is, and a phone number. And that has a link to carsoft.com/CF Summit East 2024. You have to click on that. Then you have to go to
uh,
the hamburger menu. Then you click on agenda. Then you can see the agenda.
okay. So Brad
Wow.
cracked the cheat code.
Crack the Da Vinci code to find the flipping agenda. Would it kill us to have a top level menu item? I guess so.
Okay, well, let me try to share screen real quick so we can go to
And I
this.
still don't think the agenda actually shows the workshops. So
No,
Luis's
well, Luis,
workshop,
it's yeah, his is always after. It's separate from it. It's
okay,
not,
so his
yeah,
isn't actually part of that event.
no, like their other
Dang.
one. So, but they got two.
Most like places like CF Camp, like they go out of their way to advertise for us. Like they list our workshops, on their thing.
Yeah,
That's kind of too bad that he's not able to get that from this event.
yep. So fusion reactor, web components, cold fusion roadmap, PDF workloads. So some good stuff there. And track two. Let's see. Stig. Well, that makes sense. You're in government land. You got to do Stig. So Battlefield ORM. Well, that might be Luis. I'm not sure actually. MVC with and without a framework. It's probably not Luis. But yeah, so if we click in, you can see this code security Pete. So let's see, is this one Luis? Yes, Luis, I guess right. Wonder if George Murphy's talking about Stig? Nope. Brian Bockhold. That's cool. But there's a lot of good people speaking here. So yeah, so very cool. Now you guys know. Of course, I was clicking on the wrong page, but you guys didn't see me clicking and scrolling. Sorry about that. Too many windows, too much everything. So yeah, a lot of great stuff there. And again, the Coldbox Workshop, if you're just looking for more information on that, go check that out. The link posted. But next up after that, so a month from now, into the box. So we're going to be in Optica, Washington, D.C. Looks like a pretty cool event. We got most of our sessions and workshops have been announced. We have a couple of secret ones on there, and I think we actually have more. So we're going to be having 5 secret sessions. So basically, you won't know what they are until you get there. I don't even know what they are for some of them. So you guys will have to check that out at intothebox.org. And let me share my screen again. So we got the countdown, 28 days, Brad. So how many sessions do you have to write? 300?
It feels like it was just 33 days, like 5 days ago.
Yeah, it kind of does that to you. But again, great location, new location. We're hoping we can just get more people from different areas by moving to DC. Hopefully, it's more centralized. But get some great food. Of course, we have a Happy Box networking event afterwards, and there may be mariachi and singing like there sometimes is. But we got a couple of workshops too. So we've got reactive front ends with CFML, CBY, and Alpine JS with Grant Copley. So meet the man who made it all. And then Daniel Garcia and John Clausen are going to be talking about bare metal to the cloud, migrating legacy applications to AWS. And then Luis is doing a workshop one day, Coldbox 7 Unleashed. So this is basically a one-day version of what he'll be doing at CF Summit East. And so he'll be jamming through that, and a lot of great content there. We always jam as much as we can into these workshops, and we have small numbers so we can really give you that personal attention to make sure everyone's keeping up and learning as much as they can. But a lot of great content as well. So like I said, day one, we got the registration, keynote, some networking, we got some sessions, and there's more changing. You'll see that this is changing as well. We got a couple of secret sessions here. I think they're going to be moving. And
We have like 5 secret sessions, don't we?
yeah, we have 5. So there's 2 on that day already. We're actually going to add a couple more. There's another 2 sessions after this. So we got some updates coming to this really soon. But a lot of great content. If you want to check out the speakers, we have a large array of speakers. So we got some new ones this year that haven't been. So some new ones. Ooh, a mystery speaker. Ooh. So yeah,
I don't even know who that is.
yeah.
Mystery speaker.
But yeah, it's nice to see some new faces, and we got a good mix here. Again, really great. And we got some great sponsors and more coming too. So,
I'm really curious about these secret sessions, Gavin.
yeah.
How are those going to work? Like, do you have to wear a blindfold and be taken to a remote location
Well,
to be
actually,
able to?
I know they're doing signage for the rooms and stuff. So I'm like, are they going to be secret until the last minute? We just rip the sign off, like, because otherwise, if they print them and they have them there, people got to know what they are as soon as they show up. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure how the secret's going to be revealed, but we got something cool. So hopefully, you guys will
You,
be there to
you'll
check
want to
that
be
out.
there for the day one keynote. We'll put it that way.
Yep. We always like to bring the big stuff, and I think you guys will be happily surprised. But some great hotel options there too. Get them before the prices go up. Always around the conference time, and right after Mother's Day, before Memorial Weekend, prices will go up if you don't get in there soon. So go check that out. It's definitely a great conference. We have a blast doing it, and yeah, it's gonna be something special this year for sure. Okay, CF Camp 2024, as we mentioned, sessions have been announced, there's some speakers being announced. Obviously, go get your tickets. I think they're still on early discount there, so excited about
You
that.
also notice Ordis is a platinum sponsor this year at CF Camp.
Yes, and they have a secretish name on one of the sessions too, which I was like, So
What could that be about?
yeah, I guess you'll have to go see. And then, of course, we've been talking a little bit about CF Summit West, so that was announced, and there's a new venue. So I'm gonna pop open the site there, but you want to give them some more of the other details, Brad, while I get that prepped?
I could, but I'm typing in Slack right now.
Okay, well, I'll tell you then. So they got two pricing available for it. So again, it's going to be September 30th and the 1st for the conference. The day after, October the 2nd, is going to be the day for certification. And there are some discounts. If you have groups of 3 or more, you get 15% off. So you'd be paying like $85 a person if you're getting 3 early bird sessions. So early bird is $99 off. So scroll down here. Obviously, you've got some great stuff going on. There's a few people I recognize in here. I don't know, some of the speakers from last year. And then new venue. So have you ever been to a conference at Resorts World or even know what Resorts World is? I have not.
Yeah, I had never heard of Resorts World. I had heard that it was moving down the strip a ways, but I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah, so the picture looks cool. And exclusive low room rates of $105 a day. That is
It
really
seems
good for
cheap for
Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean 180 for the Mirage and stuff is, a pretty good deal. So 105 is crazy. I just want to book a few days in advance. So
Hmm.
keynotes of 2023. Well, hopefully we can get 2024's updated here soon. I'm sure they'll make those announcements as we come closer. And a lot of great sponsors last year. I'm sure we'll see some more next year. So pricing, professional pass gives you access to all the sessions, all the keynotes and stuff, access to the first day party, and access to that certification on October 2nd. So it's $199. Usually it's $299. Early bird, get them before the end of May. But session pass is just basically the 2-day conference, the party, etc., and the food. So $99 for that, which again, if you use the buy 3 or more for the group discount, get it down for 85. Or if you got that email, you might get a code for a little bit more off. So pretty good deal. And then yeah, look, there's you, Brad. You're famous. You're at the Otis
What?
booth in the
Where?
picture.
Oh, hey. What am I
Yeah,
wearing on my head?
you're wearing
Oh,
it.
it's a fedora hat.
Yeah.
It looked weird.
Well, you always look a little weird, Brad, but we'll
Well,
forgive you.
yeah. What else is no?
Yep. So a lot of great information there. This call for speakers is open. So if you guys want to speak, remember, if you speak, you get the ticket free and you get a couple of nights of hotel as well. So that's always a really great deal. And they're looking for a variety of information, variety of topics. So yeah, give it a whirl. But it looks pretty cool. I'm excited. I always think I should just buy a ticket and just go and just relax and enjoy it. But I'm sure we'll be doing something special there. We'll submit a few sessions and see how that goes. So I know that me and Scott like taking a road trip over there. So Scott Steinbeck usually likes to attend that one, and we have a lot of fun in Vegas. And I'm sure we will be announcing Otis Workshop right after that. So Otis Workshop is in the works. We had to figure out when and where they were going to do it so we could try to line up the venue. So we'll get the Otis Workshop information to you as soon as we have it. So again, if this isn't enough conferences, like Comps.tech has a lot of great information for you. Okay. Whew. Seems like we're flying through them here. Why don't we get into the blogs, tweets, and videos of the week? And the first one, it scared me a little bit, I must admit, when I saw this title, Brad.
Hackers
Hackers
demand
demand
a
ransom?
ransom. Yeah.
Yeah. So this one was actually on the Otis blog. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Um, but I'll share my screen for those looking. So Cristobal, one of our marketing people, has posted hackers demand ransom to restore data from my Cold Fusion web applications. And so apparently we've had a couple of clients who, thought that never happened, and then it did. So they basically had all these issues, and basically it's April 11th, they're talking about multiple security vulnerabilities for remote code execution and all these different things. These threats are serious, so we want you to have a look at that. And the main reason that we're even an issue is because people aren't updating, right, Brad? I mean, as far as zero-day vulnerabilities go and stuff, like, we're pretty good about fixing them. If you look at other languages, Cold Fusion is actually one of the better ones security-wise for fixing them.
Yeah, Adobe Cold Fusion especially has a very not rigid, but what's the word? Fast moving process as far as something's reported, they get it fixed out right away. It's just you've got to make sure you're installing those fixes.
Yep, and that's the key with all of this, is that you got to stay updated. You got to stay on the latest version, get those patches installed, and it's easy to slack, but there's some serious stuff going on here, and so again, if you've got any issues or whatever, you can reach out to Otis. There's other security experts. Obviously, Foundeo is a Cold Fusion expert. Brian O'Reilly blogs about a lot of the stuff too. So there's a lot of people you can talk to. But yeah, what they'll all tell you though is stay up to date. You got to stay up to date to stay out of the attack vector. So that's a great blog post there. Okay, we have a few from Ben Adele. He's finished with his book, so he's back to blogging. It seems like he's blogging like crazy now, which is great.
Oh, I didn't know he was writing a book. What was he writing?
He wrote the Feature Flags book.
Oh,
Man, you've been off
yes,
the
yes, yes.
podcast for so long, so he wrote
I
that for a
remember
while.
that. Yeah.
So he wrote that book and released it, and so now he's back at it. But so the next one is extracting JSON embedded within a HTML generated file in Cold Fusion. So he's been doing a lot of work with updating his website. He's back to his blog site and doing some work on his fitness app. Hey, All Blacks! Yay! Sorry, New Zealand's rugby team, All Blacks. Just saw the shirt. So, so he's basically working through here and decoding the output of the encode for JavaScript and the other blog post we're going to mention. So he's just working through this place here of Cold Fusion, and I'm going to share the other one real quick as well.
Aren't there actually some BIFs and a tag that just do this automatically in Cold Fusion?
And that's
We were
the
just
thing
looking
is,
at it the other day.
yeah, so encode for JavaScript output in Cold Fusion. So he's decoding it. So
Well, no. Code for JavaScript is just escaping the meta characters. There's actually a BIF that like literally will just like output JavaScript for you based on a Cold Fusion variable.
okay. Yeah, I know there's a some with Vue that basically Eric Peterson made a module to help with that, and help set those things up for you. So I'll have to find the BIF for that one. I wonder if
I'm trying
that's
to remember what the crap it is. It's one I rarely use, and we were just working with it the other day. And now I'm trying to search for it in CF Docs. I'm trying to remember what was in the name.
Yeah, that's a good
Because
question.
there's a tag I used to use where you could go like CF to WDDX or CF to JS. Um,
And Scott asked a good question in the chat. I don't know if you saw that one. What
no.
is a BIF? You want to tell everyone what a BIF is, Brad?
Where did he ask that? Oh,
Um,
I see. Sorry, my chat's behind on my page. BIF is a built-in function.
yep,
So anything that's built into Cold Fusion, like write output or the dump function, those are all built-in functions, as opposed to user-defined functions or UDFs.
yep. I know the UDF one, the BIF one. Sometimes it throws me a little bit, but
I think the word BIF gained popularity originally on the Rilo mailing list back in the day. I don't know
Oh,
that Adobe ever used that word, but I've been used to people using that word for years because it was always a really common vernacular in the Rilo and Lucy user groups. Um,
gotcha.
but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just the built-in functions in Cool Fusion. I don't know what do you call that, Scott? Like if you wanted to tell someone about one of the built-in functions of Cool Fusion, what would you call that in order to differentiate it from a user-defined function that you had written in Cool Fusion?
Yeah. I'm not sure if Scott will answer that one.
Well, give it a
Guess
second.
you call it as a CF function, maybe.
But I mean,
Yeah.
the UDF is also written in Cold Fusion, so it could be called a CF function as well, couldn't it?
Yeah. I might have called them built-in function, but never the acronym. Not especially not BIF, you know. BIF maybe. You know, it's like the people who say CLI and then people like Daniel Garcia that say CLI, and I'm like, but I like BIF. BIF, I can handle the BIF. So, but anyway, so Ben's got a couple of good ones there, you know, working with JavaScript, and maybe for the ForgeBox one, we'll do the Eric's little helper. I think it's a view helper. I'll add that to the list for today. But we also have one from Gregory Alexander. So he's got a couple of blogs. He's been working with some image stuff. So one of the ones he's posted recently was this building image sliders with stunning transitions using Swiper. So for those who can watch it, there's all sorts of different transitions. It has some kind of cool effects, all sorts of different effects that they have. And so you can sort of, if you want to make your slideshow a little cooler, you can change it up. There's like some dissolves 3 or 4 different ways. That's pretty cool. So if you want to play with that, so Swiper. And then a bigger one from Ben Adele, which I think is really cool, is you know how he's been working on with that Hotwire stuff forever, right? He's been
Mm-hmm.
working with that, and you know, HTMX is a similar thing out there, which is sort of getting pretty popular. But I think Hotwire, and well, the Hotwire Turbo stuff is from the Ruby on Rails, like DHH. Man, I can't speak. I need some more soda. Sorry about that, everybody. But so basically, he's been complaining for a while. um, about all the things and how it's hard to make it work back and forth with the CFML files with CoFusion, and because it uses HTML. You know, if you have a .html, it'll switch stuff out on the fly for you. So he has all these, you know, rewrites and stuff on the back end to change all the HTML calls to CFM and stuff. And so he's like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna fork this. So he's forked Turbo, and he's made it Turbo CFML, and he's gonna try and take over the browser and use CFM. So the cool thing about Turbo, for those who don't know, is like you kind of wrap your code in an app, and so when you click on a link, what it does is it'll go in the instead of the browser going to a new page, Turbo will take over that link and sort of basically go get the data, come back, and sort of like re-injects it. So as he puts it, Turbo hijacks the events, prevent the default reload, fulfills the request using Ajax, and then reduces the number of resources that have to be processed by the browser and stuff, and opens the door for preloading, lazy loading, persistent elements, and advanced caching. But yeah, so he talks a little bit about how he's using it, and you know how he sort of forked it to try to make it better. So, well, someone said, "Why don't you just do rewrites?" And he's like, "Well, I want to make it easier for people to get started, and so why not just fork it and do that?" So, good on you, Ben. So that's pretty cool. Um, yeah. So CF Camp, we've talked about it a few times today. Were you in Zach Spitz's session, Brad, by chance last year? Did you happen to see that one?
I saw him in the keynote. I don't remember if I made it into his actual session or not.
So this is a tweet that he made this week, which I thought was hilarious because it reminds me of me. So basically, when he's presenting, the Work Chronicles picture says "Presentation Hell," and it says, "For this 1 hour meeting,
Oh
I have
yeah, I
made a
saw that.
presentation with 210 slides. Each slide is filled with paragraphs of text. I will now read each paragraph word for word." 210 slides in a minute, in 60 minutes. I always have that type of stuff, but I like to make sure people have the reference for later. But I thought that was hilarious. It's like, yeah, that's pretty much what I do, right? You know, like 3 slides a minute, like, or I guess 4 slides. I can talk fast. So anyway, I thought that was pretty funny. So wanted to share that.
All
Okay.
right, so I finally found him. The function, the BIF and the tag I was thinking of is called toScript. It creates a JavaScript or ActionScript expression that assigns the value of a ColdFusion variable to a JavaScript or ActionScript variable. So basically, it does what Ben was doing, just put in a single step. So you pass in a ColdFusion variable like a struct or array or whatever, and then it outputs a string of JavaScript, which you can just slap into a script block, which basically is the same as serializing it as JSON and then escaping it, but it's just built into the language, so you don't really need to do that yourself. And it also has, well, there's an ActionScript nonsense that nobody probably uses anymore. There's an output format, oh, of course, because you can do WDDX as well. Um, and then you give it the name of the JavaScript variable you want, and it literally like creates the entire snippet of JavaScript code. So if you have a ColdFusion variable and you were like, hey, I wish this were a JavaScript variable, you can just use the toScript bit, which honestly I always forget even exists. And then the other thing I was thinking of that again, everybody seems to never remember this exists. The CFWDDX tag in ColdFusion also will turn variables into ColdFusion or WDDX. I don't quite understand why the tag is called WDDX, but it also has JavaScript stuff. But there's an action parameter attribute rather on the CF WDDX tag, and one of the actions is CFML to JS, and it'll take a ColdFusion variable and turn it into a JavaScript variable for you.
Oh,
Again, I don't really use these because it's not really the way I write apps anymore. But back in the day, if you had ColdFusion data and you basically wanted to pass it to the page, you would use toScript or you would use WDDX with the CFML to JS action, and it just creates the JavaScript for you. Which again, I mean, it's kind of the same as serialized JSON and encode for, but it's actually like built in. But I think most people literally don't know these exist in the language because I
there's so
rarely ever.
many biffs that you just don't even realize exist. I mean, I go through the Lucy stuff sometimes or on CF Docs searching for things, and I'm like, there's so many tags I've never heard of. Then when you click into the ones you use all the time, you realize that there's a million different attributes you've never even looked at. So it's kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
And like the WDX one, you can control how it does time zones. You can set the top level variable. You can run validation. It's all sorts of interesting stuff. I actually use the CFWDDX tag inside of CFconfig, which is the only reason I even knew this existed, I think. But I use it to, just spit out XML, not JavaScript.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Well, there you go. So next up though, we have a blog from Charlie Earhart. So if you didn't see in CF Camp, he's actually was one of those selected to present. So he's basically going to be presenting there on the using Redis for session storage in ACF and Lucy, and basically how it's done. It's a pretty cool one, and nice too that it'll be comparing them to versus the zero cost options for testing versus production. And yeah, I wonder if he'll talk on the Valkey version or Valkey. Yeah, I got it right that time, or not. So, but yeah,
Think of the way it should be and then reverse it.
yep, exactly. So that'll be good to have Charlie presenting there again. And then he also did share that one. We'll just share the link in the chat for those that care about the Adobe CF online CF Summit online videos. Man, I always get that backwards. But those 17 sessions, all the descriptions, you can go check that out here. And then we had one more by Greg Alexander. It's actually an older one that we just missed. I've got to try and update my little RSS tool to grab all the stuff properly. But in this here, he's looking at using UPI for client-side file uploading, connecting with ColdFusion. It has those little sort of drop zone type setups and whatever. And yeah, so this article shows you how to set it up to allow people to upload your files through ColdFusion using the HXR stuff. But yeah, so he's got a nice little walk through the steps. What is it? How you can use it? It's pretty cool that they have this little companion plugin, so you can grab files from Box, Dropbox, Facebook, Google Drive, OneDrive, etc. So, and you can do from URL or Zoom even. Wow, that's cool than I thought. So it seems like it's a general purpose uploader tool. So that's pretty cool. And then there's some cool comments here. So it looks like well, that was actually a little older. I thought it was these comments, but yeah. So Greg has some other stuff on there he's been working through. Again, working a lot of like client side uploading files, slideshows, and stuff like that. So if you guys are wanting to find more about that, he's got a few other blog posts there as well on his gregoryalexander.com. site. So, okay, next up we have CFML jobs. So you see, yeah, get cfmljobs.com. We got 123 positions listed there right now, and I'm going to bring up the website. Brad, if you want to just give us a rundown on the current jobs that are available.
Looks like we have a contract-based remote senior cold fusion developer in Los Angeles. That was posted today. Looks like.
Okay.
I would
Company is
grab a link
recruiting for good.
for
Interesting.
good. Oh, the name of the company is Recruiting for Good.
Yeah, apparently.
So I assume it's just an intermediate recruiting company, not the actual place. Must be
Maybe.
U.S. citizen, no third-party candidates. Just ironic if they're a third-party recruiter.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, some good
Works
minimum
with
skills.
manager, web development. I'm just gonna read the description here. It's basic boilerplate like you have.
Yeah. But it doesn't have the bingo of like a million different things, Cold Fusion, SQL Server, JavaScript, Angular, JSON, jQuery. CS experience with Compass, Bootstrap, mobile friendly development, etc. So,
So you have to follow coding standards.
what's coding
Strong written
standards?
and verbal communication skills. They always say that.
Yep. And there's
Yeah,
another one
seems
here in Melbourne, Florida. So, this
senior
one,
cold fusion developer remote. So both of these are remote.
yep. But the other one was remote, but you have to be in California. I wonder if this one has to be in Australia
Interesting.
somewhere. But
It's
they
like
got,
remote, but not too remote.
yeah, a lot more stuff in this one.
They got a lot of bullets. You need to have a BS degree. I'll tell you what, some of these degrees are BS, that's for sure.
Some of these job posts look a little BS too, but it actually mentions Cold Fusion 10 Plus or Lucy 4.5. So,
Which,
and it has CF frameworks for Framework 1, Coldbox Lucy configuration, lockdown procedures, command box scripting. Okay, they're cool. We like them.
well, I guess I'm a
But,
little concerned that, they're on Cold Fusion 10, but the latest is 2023.
well,
And
they
they're on
said
Lucy 4 and
no.
5, and the latest is 6.
They just said experience with it. Experience with
Well, that
10
means
plus.
they're using it. And they're also in SQL Server 2008.
Yeah.
That's I would have some hard questions for these if they were to interview me about exactly what they're on and what their status is to get those updated.
Remember, 2008 was the last time they had the nice friendly licensing. When they went to the newer versions, the licensing got a little crazy. So a lot of people
I
stuck
know,
there. They
I
should,
know.
yeah. So we've dealt with that with clients before. It's like, if we upgrade, it's going to cost us $500,000. So we probably don't want to do
Yeah.
that. So,
But
yeah.
yeah, the command box scripting they list is awesome. So I know they're using command box. So like you said, they can't be that bad.
Yep.
They
So,
mentioned framework 1.
well, hey, using a framework, that's better than some places.
It is. It is. It's good to see them on a framework.
Yeah. Framework 1 is basically just the basic MVC part of the site that Coldbox uses, That's
I'm curious if they're actually in the middle of moving from Adobe to Lucy, and that's why they have both of them. That could,
maybe.
I'm just purely speculation, but usually you don't see, two languages unless someone is kind of moving from one to the other, but maybe that is their plan and they want you to help.
Yeah, maybe.
Overall, it doesn't look too bad,
Yeah. So,
especially being remote.
yeah. So, again, get cfmljobs.com. It's great if you want to look for a job or if you need to post one too. And there are job channels in the CFML Slack team and in our box Slack team too. So make sure you throws them in there as well if you're looking for someone. So, okay. Next up, let's get into the ForgeBox module of the week. And since we've been talking about these JavaScript helpers, I went and found those ones that Eric made. So we have the first one is view helpers. So this is specifically made to make your life a little easier. I know that Brad showed you or told you about the BIF, but this one here is a view helper. So it's a collection of helpers interacting with Vue.js. So basically it's a prop. It takes a prop in and serializes all the values for you and using view prop. So you have prop value. So you can, if you have like a view code, you've got your component and you have a binding for my prop equals, you can just basically put that variable with a prop function. It'll just take care of all the stuff you need to make it friendly. So because basically this one, it would be, you'd want to encode for attributes, but it's also JavaScript as well. So that's why I think he has both. So you're doing JavaScript attributes inside of, HTML attributes with JavaScript inside of it. So you have to escape it twice. So anyway, this is a nice little helper there. And then also a relative one for the newest stuff, we actually have a Vite helpers. So if I search for Vite helpers here, so Vite is the new cool, fast, way better than everything, and it works with Vue and everything else too. Actually, everything's moving to use Vite these days. But so this is a little Vite plugin.
Is that how you pronounce Vite? Is Vite? Because I would have said
Vite,
Vite
yeah, it's
or Vitey.
yeah. Uh, People pronounce it different ways, but Evan Yu pronounces it Vite, I believe. But it's like Dino, if like the Node variation Dino. They had an interview with someone with that, and the guy actually said, "Well, we started calling it Dino, and then we decided no, it should be Dino. So now
Huh,
we have to accept both because we said both at one point or the other." So yeah,
that's funny.
so everyone pronounced different ways, and in the same podcast that one of the representatives from Dino called it both. So I think they're just confused. But
That's hilarious.
yep, exactly. So, but yeah, so there's Vite helper, View helper. Again, they're just little helpers that just do a couple of different things, and maybe the serialize will work in most cases, like Brad said. But I know that I've tried to use the default one, and I think Eric's done some work where it just didn't quite do what he needed to do because the way we're using props and Vue. So anyway, that'll do the trick. So yeah, there's your ForgeBox module of the week.
Sweet.
Okay, next up we have our VS Code module of the week, and that one is something I just saw advertised, and literally advertised, brand new in beta. So this thing called Anima, I think, Anima. How would you pronounce that, Brad?
Anima? I don't know. It looks like animation, but I don't actually
Yeah.
know.
So I'll pull that up here to show you guys what it looks like. But it's Anima, so it takes your Figma design to code. So it's a front-end coding assistant. So basically, you can take your Figma design and it'll actually go ahead and convert your Figma designs into React code. So I know a lot of people using React these days, but it'll generate the boilerplate React components and layout directly from your Figma designs. And so I know that a lot of people are working this way now, where they basically mock up stuff and everything, and then, instead of the old days we had to slice it in Photoshop or Fireworks, to basically take images and slice them all up and fill them in ourselves with the rest. Now you can actually take your Figma designs and convert them to React code, and I think there's some other tools doing similar things for other front-end frameworks. But the whole idea is that once you got your design, you can basically generate all the boilerplate you need. And of course, they've got a guided UI development coming soon with some AI stuff, which will receive real-time guidance to ensure your code aligns perfectly with the design, accelerate your development, and maintain consistency across your code base. And if you want to see the real spiel, we'll go over here to the Anima app and find out a little bit more about it. Designed to code. And so, a video for those watching. So you turn Figma components into code.
I don't know what Figma is, I'll be honest. I don't do front end stuff, and I've
Well,
never heard of Figma.
so Figma is kind of like the Envision app, where you basically do all the drawing
Okay.
and stuff. But the cool thing about it in these new versions, when you do a design like this and you like click on something, it'll give you the style sheet component. Like, so if you have a button or a card, it'll generate all the style sheets you need from it. And so in here, it's actually doing more than that. It's generating the input files and the HTML code that you need to basically make that card work. So
Okay.
even if
So
you're not
you
using,
basically design it in a nice little drag and drop WYSIWYG interface, and then it says, here's what you would actually use for the styles to create this.
yeah, and Figma is the company that Adobe tried to buy for $40 billion, and they ended up not being able to because it was anti-competitive, and so they still had to pay Figma $1 billion as like a back out fee. So Figma
Dang.
got $1 billion for not getting bought out, and so now,
Good for them.
yeah, so they were gonna kill it. Of course, they were trying to make their stuff better and probably kill it. So now,
Right. They were gonna suck it in and
yep.
eliminate the competition.
Yeah, so Envision Code is going out of business as well. So that company's been around forever, so they're going out of business. If Figma got bought as well, there would have been just Adobe stuff left, and
Yeah, I had
they're
seen that
killing
about
it.
Envision. Do you know what happened with Envision?
And they got bought out by a bigger company, and then I think it's the whiteboard company, Milo or Milo, and they're incorporating some stuff, but basically they're emerging. If you listen to Working Code podcast, they talk about it a little bit, but I mean, essentially at the end of the year, Envision app will be no more. So, but I think it's a whiteboarding
Kind of a
service,
shame.
Milo. Yeah, for sure. I mean, Ben goes through all the emotions in the Working Code podcast, talking about it and everything, and it's
Yeah.
I mean, he's been there since the start. He was one of the founders. He sort of moved off the board after in more recent times, but still got a lot of a lot of love with the legacy platform and even the newer stuff when they went microservices. But but yeah, so it sounds pretty cool. I know that we use Figma for a couple of clients, and Adobe XD is sort of dying, so I thought they were going to replace it with a Figma thing. So I don't know what everyone's using these days now. So I guess Figma is
I
it.
use Microsoft Paint,
Well, we
my
know
go-to,
your design skills.
my go-to tool.
Yep, exactly. Well,
Yeah. We had to have someone on the team recently add some pretty styles and colors to something I had just stubbed out, and it was just absolute ugly tables. But it worked.
yeah. Well,
That's how I design. Ugly.
well, I did a mock up of something, a proof of concept recently, and it was just a mock up, and I knew someone was going to make it look better too, but I didn't want to make it look terrible. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's really cool! It looks better than what Brad would do." I'm like, "Thanks, that's a really low bar for me to achieve.
Yeah.
It looks
I don't
better
even
than Brad's."
try.
Oh,
I don't even try to make it look pretty. So yeah, I have a very low bar to suppress.
I know, but they said I was like, "It's better than you." I'm like, "It bloody better be." I got a little pride
And
in my stuff.
any amount of effort at all should be better than what I would make when it comes
Uh,
to design.
Too funny. Okay, so next up we have our Patreon supporters. Do you want to tell us why these people are supporting us, Brad?
Why? I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe they're just lonely and they feel like they want to have meaning in life.
Well, if
Or
that's the case, they should come to the conference for sure. But
well,
hopefully it's a
no,
little more.
our Patreon supporters are basically people personally supporting all the open source initiatives that we have here at Ortus. So Command Box, Forge Box, Gold Box, Content Box, Test Box. If you use any of those boxes to make your life easier to generate revenue or just to do hobby stuff, then becoming a Patreon supporter basically helps us keep those projects alive and keep them going. And then of course the contributions also help fund the cloud infrastructure for stuff like ForgeBox, which we have to have hosting, right? We have S3 buckets. Every time you install packages, we've got to have a server, running out there with the caching layers and everything to make sure that's always online and performance. So Patreon basically helps keep that stuff up and running for the community as well.
Yep, and if you go to patreon.com/ordersolutions, you can find out more about our packages. But we do have some perks for some of those packages. So everybody gets access to the private channel on the Box Team Slack. So all Patreons will be added there. If you haven't got an invite to that, just reach out to one of us, and then we'll get you added to that. And we also have the community website. So on there's a special private forum there for just Patreons, and you also get a cool little badge by your name, right, Brad? Like, I'm a Patreon supporter.
You
So
do, yeah.
so
The discourse forum has the ability to assign badges to people that you can put next to your name. So if you're a Patreon supporter and you don't have the Patreon badge, holler at me and we'll make
yep.
sure you get it.
I know we need to get some more people added because we got hit 50 now. So I'm like, dang, we have to get the new list and get that updated. So we're working on that. But if you do get a bronze package and up, you also get a ForgeBox Pro account and a CFCast subscription as a perk. So those are pretty cool. Those are worth some dollars right there. And if you bought both of those, would basically be the same as the Patreon account. So now you get to be a Patreon and get those services. So ForgeBox Pro has some cool features, and CFCast subscriptions gives you a lot of great content too. So go check that out. And community.ordersolutions.com is the discourse forum that Brad mentioned. Got a lot of cool things happening. But we have some really awesome, humbling supporters on Patreon. And so I'll read the top few, and then I'll let you read the next set. And we can't read them all because we've got too damn many. So that's a good problem to have. But thank you so much to John Wilson from Synaptrix and Tomorrow's Guides and Jordan Clark.
And also Gary Knight, Giancarlo Gomez, David Bellinger, Dan Card, James Moberg, and Jeffrey McGee from Sunstar Media, Dean Mounder, Kevin Wright, Doug Kane, Nolan Irk, and Abdul Raheen are just a few of our many top patrons.
Yep, so we got 50 Patreons now. Again, if if you want to get on the list, you just basically top Patreons over time, and based on the amount you're pledging, we really can't do all the things we want to do without you guys. We appreciate it. And again, there are ways to support us paid, like Patreon or tickets to workshops and conferences, but there's a lot of ways you can help us too. Pull requests and documentation, leaving reviews for things, subscribing to our YouTube channel, and all those things help too. But we want to make a special mention of those that are spending their hard-earned cash to say thank you to us, and so we thank you too. And if you go to autosolutions.com/about-us/sponsors, you can see all the sponsors on there, and our Patreon list will be updated there very soon too. So thanks everybody, and yeah, countdown is coming. So everyone have fun at CF Summit East next week. Get your tickets for ITB. We'll want to see you guys all there in a month. But
you don't want to miss it.
Yeah, trust me, there's some cool stuff. It's gonna be fun. You guys have a great one, and yeah, we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Show notes for this episode can be found at cfmlnews.modernizeordie.io, where you can also subscribe to your favorite podcast player like Spotify or iTunes. We also have the link to YouTube to find more videos just like this. The music used in this podcast is under a royalty-free license from Sound.com and Blue Tree Audio.